Okay, we are just going to dive in then. So as you guys know, we got the 2025 municipal election here. We've got a little agenda. I'm not going to go over those because we're going to talk through everything. Again, you guys have got our contact information as well as the shared contact down at the bottom. You guys probably all have that at this point. We also added that absentee voting calendar like we always do. Again, I'm not going to list those dates for you guys. You can take a peek at what those are.
The only thing I will jump in on that last slide is that and you're probably going over it, but ballot drop-offs have changed to 5 p.m. on election day. New law change. So if you're talking to voters.
Previously it was
8 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m. last year.
Last year was 8 p.m. Prior to that, it was 3 p.m.
Yeah,
The
point is it's not 5.
But yeah, 5 o'clock now.
5 p.m.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple things that are new for 2025 regarding equipment, legislation, forms, what have you. It's okay. First one, we are going to talk about a new piece of equipment that is called the Express Vote. This is the new assistive ballot marking device. This replaces the Omni ballot. Cheer! Yay! Everyone's so happy. No setting up the Omni ballot. So this does use ballot cards instead of the standard paper ballots. You'll see these in action, but so basically you're going to give the voter one of these ballot cards instead, assist them in getting the machine set up. They will use that, all the kind of accessible options for little devices and headphones and all the things attached just like you had for the Omni ballot, and then it'll feed into the tabulator just like a ballot would. There's also a little extra tray for it. Keep in mind, you guys are going to get a training for Election Day for online that's going to go over this in detail. You're going to see it in action. It's pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it. But so go for that training and you'll learn a little more. Witness requirements have expanded to include any eligible voter. So they no longer need to be a Minnesota eligible voter. So that spot where they put their address, you'll notice on the signature envelopes, that isn't there anymore because now they're just saying, I am these things. That section that said I am, and it bullet pointed all the things to make sure that they were eligible to be a witness. It'll just have that. They don't need to be a Minnesota eligible voter. So that's helpful for like college students who are in another state, for example, or someone who's down in Florida because they have a place down there during, an election that falls during a time frame where they're, snowbird or something. Okay, applying for a ballot online. You might remember that in odd year elections, people were not able to go to MN Votes and apply for a ballot online. They had to actually send in a physical paper one to get the mail ballot. MN Votes has now opened that up so that you can apply online for a ballot this year. Again, another amazing change, so really psyched about that. The Election Day ballot drop-off deadline, like Nicole mentioned, ballots can be dropped off until 5 p.m. at City Hall or at the Hennepin County Government Center, and this was previously 8 p.m. And I will note that agent delivery can still drop off till 8 p.m. So don't love the inconsistency there, but it's the legislation, so there's nothing we can do about it. And then mail ballots still need to be received to the county by 8 p.m. like they were before. Okay, so forms. Let's talk about the VRA and the absentee ballot application. So you guys remember last year, the VRA, the state added in that upper right corner, they added that permanent AB list box. That has now moved to the absentee ballot application. It's no longer on the VRA. So people who were already registered who wanted to be added to that, where before they had to also fill out a VRA and check that box. Now, if they're registered, they don't need to also fill out the VRA. They'll check that box on the absentee ballot application when they request the ballot. Okay, so for us, logistically, for what you guys need to know about that, is that when a person comes to that SVRS station and they have that box checked, so we would need to scan those ballots, kind of like we do for Took With, so that those are in SVRS so that the county knows to process them to put them in the AB list. So what we want you to do is highlight that. We'll give you guys a little highlighter at your station, just like you would highlight or Took With at the top. You're going to highlight that box. And then when the ballot judge gets that application at their station, they should put that in the back with that little highlighted spot kind of sticking up. So that again, when we come into the room, we'll grab any of those permanent AB list apps and any of the Took With apps so that we can get those scanned, and then we'll come and file them like they should be.
So you're just scanning the application, because you mentioned scanning the ballots. It's just the application.
We are just scanning, correct, we are scanning the application, yes, sorry for the,
Is the checkbox going to be still up in the upper right on the sheet?
yep,
Okay,
yep.
that's what I wanted.
Yep, the checkbox is in the upper right, just like it was on the VRA. It'll now just be on the absentee ballot application. So if a voter wants to be removed from this list, if they would like to be removed, we can't decide, even though I would say that it's worth pointing out to voters who come in to vote in person, if they're already on that list, it's probably worth mentioning it to them, because as we know, they're here right now wanting to vote, and clearly maybe that's not what the permanent AB list is intended for. So I would think that is, maybe something that's recommended to point out to them, but I'm going to say, I apologize, something is a little bit off on here, because very, very new information, breaking news. There is a form it is the request to be removed from the permanent AB voter list. So you no longer need to give them that little scrap, like I say on the slide here, that has the information, and you would tell them, contact the county, tell them you want to be removed, here's that information. Finally, they have made us a form for that, so that we can just say, yep, here, fill this out, and you can hang on to that, give it to us, we'll send it, or the voter can take it with them and they can send it as well, and it has the address listed there on it.
But the best is just for us to really take it and keep track of it so that they're not losing it.
Honestly, either way is just fine. If they're like, if they decide they want to be removed, but they don't want to fill it out on the spot, and they don't want to be bothered with filling it out, they can absolutely take it with them and mail that in. It's not a big
Do they have
deal.
an envelope to mail it in that's got postage paid on it?
Nope, that's going to be on them to do that.
They
The
can
only thing
also
posted-
scan it and send it to via email.
Yep.
So if they want, so on the form it says Hennepin's mailing address and email, so they can do either.
Yep, it's really just that official election materials, like the ballot, that's going to have a return paid postage envelope on it. The other stuff is all kind of, as people wish to send something in, that's kind of on them to be able to do that.
How would you know that a person is on that permanent list?
I'll let Nicole answer.
It should,
So
if you
the
find.
question was, how would you know if someone
yes.
is on the permanent AV list?
Yes, thank you. So when you look at somebody's, so they would have already been sent something when they come in. So you'll look at their record, and it should say received, at the top it says received via, usually it's counter when we're doing in person, it will say received via permanent AB, or it says
I can't remember what the
something
wording
along
is
those
either.
lines, but it says received via permanent. So that is one way to look.
Yeah.
No, you won't delete. Well, if you're doing this, spoil and
Yep.
that will change. But just a
so
way
if
to
a
know.
voter comes into you and they don't say anything, they just hand you their app like they would, right? You're going to pull it up just like you would any other time a ballot already exists for them. You're going to see that ballot listed in the ballot results. The lower section, I apologize for not knowing what the language on that is. In that lower section, you're going to see the ballot listed. And then when you highlight that and view it, like Nicole said, in that spot where it would have said via mail, it'll say permanent AB, something like that.
Isn't that where I say, Terry, this one's yours?
Sure, absolutely. If there's confusion on that, absolutely you can go to your lead and ask for assistance on that. And I should note, obviously, I think you guys know, Terry and Sherry are your guys' leads typically. Terry's going to be there in the morning. Sherry will be there in the afternoons. It'll be a little bit different for in the voting center because you'll have staff with you during certain times. Then when we're doing equipment testing, you'll just have two of you guys. And so you'll have plenty of time to ask staff questions too when we're in that room with you guys. But
And Cliff, Linda and I are going to send those to you.
all right, a few things for you guys to know. Election judge conduct. You guys have all been here long enough. You guys know all this, but obviously be respectful of everyone whom you interact with. That platinum rule, treat others how they wish to be treated, and do everything you can to help residents vote. Obviously, also, you guys know, no politics, no controversial topics. Again, among other things, that means no religion, sexual orientation, politicized topics or talking points, and that's whether voters are around or not. Amongst ourselves, we still can't be doing that. Campaign materials, nothing kind of changed here. Minnesota law prohibits displaying campaign materials or attempting to persuade voters within 100 feet of the polling place. Call staff if someone refuses to remove something. Keep your eyes peeled. I know you guys were good about that last year. I remember there was one in particular, Bob pointed out, that we all kind of went, oh yeah, that's, that is a political thing. So sometimes they're, just keep your eyes peeled. Tell the person nicely. Usually they're going to be just fine with it. But if you do have problems, let us know.
A quick question on that.
Yeah.
Since this isn't a federal election, I'm assuming that if someone comes in with a MAGA hat on, that's okay?
Yeah, so question about federal elections and mega hat. Yes, that would be okay because it's not on the ballot. That's also same thing with like political parties. No political parties are on the ballot this time. It's just the city and school district. So if someone wants to wear a political party shirt, go ahead.
It's kind of that general rule of thumb, kind of like it says on the bottom, right? If it's on the ballot, it can't be on you. So if it's something that's not on the ballot, it's just fine. If it's someone who's running for governor, for president, what have you, if it's not on the ballot, that's fine.
We probably really won't see much of this, I would guess.
You maybe pins or something. Sometimes people will have things. I know the candidates do have stuff, but how much of it you see is a lot more limited. You're right than what you see in some of the others. Right, correct. That you can't be campaigning.
Yeah, Cliff, I would
within
say
100
a
feet. It's-
low turnout.
Yep. And if
Generally.
you were to see something like a person campaigning, let us know right away and let us deal with that because we'd want to be aware of that. All right, how to help in the morning. And I specifically would say how to help Tanya in the morning because you guys know Tanya is always there getting everything ready for us for the day. Know that she is busy setting up. And in particular, once we're to the direct balloting, that DS200 can't be left alone. So she can't really leave that space once we're getting that set up. So if you're trying to get into that building, like she can't let you in. You're going to have to wait until the building opens, or for Terry to arrive in the morning. She does have badge access to get in. So what we hope for to have is kind of having like a little tag team situation. You come in, you wait for the next person. Hopefully you guys are all arriving in a pretty tight window of time, that it shouldn't be anything too crazy. And then we just say, arriving no more than 5-10 minutes early, so that you guys can kind of walk in together. And then I don't expect to see much of this election, but we really don't want voters coming in prior to 8 o'clock when those doors are locked. So while I know it feels good to hold the door for someone, or if someone's trying to come in, like be polite, but kind of let them know that we can't have access to the public prior to 8 o'clock when the doors are unlocked.
And then when we're in the, when we're in the voting center, staff person's always going to be there in the morning. So just feel free to just come in at 8. Like we'll be up there. Just come in. Like I'm not going to dock you for getting up there at 8:01 or something.
Yeah.
So,
Good point.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't feel like you need to come early for the voting center. We will be there. Other than maybe that time frame during equipment testing when we have 2 of them.
Oh, well, we'll still greet them.
Okay.
Like, and get them going and then go down.
Super. Perfect. Okay.
Just you're usually there about 1:45, aren't you?
Yes, so I was asked what time I usually get there. I'm usually there well before 1:45, so, and setting up and everything. But last year, we did try this where Terry let the next person, she gets there, she lets the next person in and asks them to stay, and that worked out perfect. So just to do the same thing we did last year is great.
Perfect.
So I'm probably being a little thick about this, but how does that work? Terry lets a person, goes to get a person, that person waits to let the next person in, but then how does person number 1 get in?
Terry's person number 1, and she has badge access.
Right, so person number 2, how does person number 2 get in and person number 3 comes?
I let them in. I let them in, and then they wait down
Number
there and
2
let
waits.
others
They're
in.
inside.
Okay.
Terry's
Oh,
always
got it,
number
got it,
1.
got it, inside. Okay.
And then as far as setting up, Tanya gets, again, we're kind of talking about direct balloting here, but Tanya gets the DS200 and the laptop set up and logged into SVRS. Once a couple of judges have made it into the chambers, One judge will have to stay there, again, with the DS200 because it can't be left alone, while someone else helps trying to get the ballot cart brought in. And then the things you can do to help: get the voting booth lights plugged in, make sure the signs are out, the app table's ready and stocked, turn on the express vote, sign in, find which station you're working, do those sorts of things. That's what's going to be helpful to Tanya in the morning. All right, when we tear down for a meeting the previous day, so you're coming down and you're coming in the morning and there was a meeting the night before. So a few things: the voting booths, move those back into position and get them plugged in. Cord management is going to be like a major thing that Tanya wants help with. So if you can help bundle and tape down those cords that got moved, we try to maintain things as much as we're able for whatever that meeting is going to bring. But if there's something, a big topic, maybe we have to tear down a little bit more. So that sort of thing is going to be the most helpful. Again, the express vote, I say get the table moved, but it's actually on like a little kiosk, but get the express vote map moved back into place. Hang the city map again, and then kind of odds and ends: the ballot box, the app file box, the cart of supplies, all the little things that get moved around. Just help get those back kind of in line and where you want them for the day. All right, if you're running low on any supplies, let us know. Try not to wait until those are out or almost out, just in case there's crazy stuff going on and we're busy. We like to be able to not have to do it immediately if we don't have to. So that's keeping an eye on the AB ballot applications, VRAs, ballots for any particular precincts, I voted stickers, rolls of Dymo labels, witness labels, sample ballots, permanent AB list, forms, not contact info sheets, sorry, forms. The pre-made took with packets for registered or non-registered voters, envelopes, pens, anything else under the sun you can think
Do
of.
we have some scratch paper in case we need it?
Scratch paper?
Yeah.
Sure, yep, we can provide that.
Junior stickers?
Oh, yeah.
Nope, we don't do those.
Oh.
Or Becky, what's your answer about future voter stickers?
Becky?
Becky just snuck in, you guys. Everyone say hi.
Let me think.
Okay. I know that
Let me look at my budget.
If-
I would say for this election.
If the stickers are out, you can have them. If they're not, you can't, Cliff. That's what we'll go with.
Maybe save the money till
Well, I have some more really
important
wants
elections.
Not right now.
Okay, and then at any time, if you need assistance while you're down there, please call us. So there's a staff election contact sheet in the absentee binders. You guys probably all have our numbers too. You should ask your lead questions, but if they're busy, which obviously there's times where they're really busy with something, don't hesitate to call us. We're always there for your assistance if you need it. You're never bothering us, so sometimes we come down there and you guys have a dozen questions for us and we go, well, why didn't you call us? We can come help you guys. There's 4 of us. We'll find time to help you guys on anything that you need, okay? Keep in mind that the first number you should call is that 8205. That rings to all of our desks. That way, whoever's available, someone will answer that. And then after that, I'd say call in the order listed. But if no one answers the 8205, you might have problems with each of our individual numbers, I would say. So go with the 8205. Anything that you have questions on, unsure about the process or what script to use in your role, let staff or lead know if anything unusual happens. If there's an unhappy voter, we want to get that information in the incident log. I think sometimes we get so used to putting things on the incident log on election day, and we only put really super unique SVRS sort of situations on the AB incident log, and I think we need to track a few more things than we maybe do during absentee. Call staff if someone is upset, refuses to move campaign material, anything like that. Call us. We'll come help right away. If anyone has questions about ranked choice voting that are beyond that kind of how to mark the ballot, tabulation questions, things like that, let us know. We want to be able to explain those to people.
Is there a ranked choice voting info sheet just for basic information?
Yep, there sure
Something
is.
they can take away or something they just have to read on the spot?
So we don't have ones for people to take away. We have like our ballot marking instruction form that we always use, and we can provide you guys also with like a talking points for our CV sheet that you guys can have that covers really like all the questions that people ask. If it goes beyond those questions, I would say that's when you're going to call us and have us come and answer those questions for people. We have found that the questions on our CV are much fewer this year than they've been. So far, we haven't started voting yet, but even just as far as what Tanya and Nicole have seen when they're like at a booth doing election stuff, it's much different than we've seen in past RCV elections already. So I think people are starting to get used to it and understanding the process. Okay, at the end of day, kind of our standard closing process, how you guys can help. Put away your name tag, shut down the laptops, and this means don't just close the screen, shut them down, unplug the voting booth lights, shut down the express vote. Applications during the envelope method. These, you'll leave the apps in the file box, place the file box on the ballot cart, which gets rolled out of the room. During the direct balloting period, after the last voter, pull out all the apps from the file box, keep them in precinct stacked order. We take those and do something with them in the back. You can help staff get the ballot cart put away, help staff initial ballots and put in precinct order after the last voter, and sign out. At the end of the day, on a day where we are tearing down for a meeting in the chambers, moving the voting booths to the area by the doors to the patio, unplug laptops and Dymo printers and load onto the cart. Try to keep those tidy. It'll help Tanya in the morning when she's kind of getting that stuff set up again. Take down the city map and place that on a cart that gets rolled in the back. That little supply cart, the empty ballot box, the cart of supplies, other odds and ends all go behind that wall. Move tables to the outsides or like kind of the back area of the room. And signs get moved behind the wall as well. We kind of just tuck that stuff out of sight a little bit. All right, so let's do a little bit of kind of background information about ways to vote absentee. And this is, you know, when people talk about early voting, we know that that's what they mean for absentee. Now, there will come a time where that is going to mean something different, but for right now, what you guys need to know is when people ask about early voting, that is what this is. So voters must fill out an absentee ballot application in order to vote absentee, regardless of what method they're using to vote absentee. Voters may only request a ballot for themselves. They cannot pick up a ballot for their spouse, friend, child, etc. There is one exception to this called agent delivery, which we will discuss, but it does have kind of some parameters and a timeline. We can only issue ballots to Minnetonka voters, and we administer absentee voting for all 21 precincts that make up the city, and there are no challengers permitted in an absentee polling place. All right, voting by mail. Hennepin County oversees voting by mail and issues all mailed ballots. To receive a ballot in the mail, voters should apply for an absentee ballot online or complete a paper AB app and mail or email to Hennepin County Elections. Mail ballots require a witness, and this is any eligible voter, not just Minnesota, like we talked about before. You cannot, if someone comes in to get a ballot in person, that they're taking away as a took with, or if they come in with their mailed materials, you cannot act as a witness. If they have not yet voted their ballot, everything is blank. You can call election staff, and we have a way that we can assist them, but we don't want you guys to do that for them. To return a mail ballot, voters should mail the ballot back to Hennepin County in the paid postage envelope that's provided them. Those need to be received by the county by 8 p.m. on Election Day, or they can drop off the ballot with us at Minnetonka City Hall or at Hennepin County Government Center, and those all need to be dropped off by 5 p.m. on Election Day unless it's an agent delivery, which can be dropped off until 8 p.m.
For the witnesses or like us staff acting, you know, doing witnessing for blank materials, please encourage people to just give you their blank materials first and vote, you know, do a spoil first before we're involved, because we really don't want to do that. It's kind of for our
last
pushy
resort.
friends.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. Yes, we would prefer it to just be taken care of in-house without us having to come do that. If someone is being more difficult about it or insisting or, again, being difficult, call us, we'll take care of it, but we don't want that to be standard practice, that people come in and staff comes down and takes care of that. We really don't want that to be something that we're just doing regularly. So it is a last resort, but yes.
Could you refresh my memory again on dropping off ballots for other people?
We will talk about it. And no, that's a different thing. Agents, the terminology is strange, but that is two different things. Someone dropping off a ballot for someone else is an agent, but that is not agent delivery. So those are two different things, yes.
Thank you for the subtlety.
Yes. The lingo sometimes is a little odd. Okay, so the method of voting in person. So let's talk about pre-direct balloting. We'll call it the envelope method. This is voting in person at Minnetonka Community Center or at the Hennepin County Government Center. That's not correct. Sorry, that carried over from a past election. They don't do that for our local election, just so you know.
Community Center only.
Minnetonka Community Center. All right, so the envelope method is taking place September 19th to October 16th. Voters will fill out an application. We issue the ballot. They vote it immediately. They'll place the ballot in the secrecy envelope and then into the outer envelope, which contains the voter information. We receive the ballot for tracking purposes, and then the voter info on the outer envelope is used for ballot boarding, and the ballots are accepted or rejected. Ballots couriered to the county are couriered to the county for tabulation for this, and the tabulation of accepted ballots begins at 5 p.m. on October 16th. All right, now direct balloting. This takes place October 17th through November 3rd. Again, they'll fill out the application, we issue the ballot, they vote it immediately, and this time now they're going to feed it directly into the tabulator. I'll note that dropped off ballots received during this time do go through the ballot boarding process before being tabulated. All ballots which use that envelope method are ballot boarded, regardless of whether they are received during direct balloting. Voters dropping off their ballot during this time cannot open their envelopes and feed their ballot into the tabulator. Direct balloting is the busiest time of absentee voting and runs for 18 days before the election. Another method is took with, and this is where the voter comes in person but wants to take the ballot home. We have pre-assembled took with materials packets, which include everything you need except the ballot. And while the signature envelope is included in the packet, you still need to put that label on there as well. The AB application at the top, you'll write took with and highlight it, place it upright in the took with folder in the filing bin for the applications with took with visible, like we talked about before. Staff comes and takes those, scans them, and then we come back and file them where they need to be. It does have a very slightly different process on SVRS. You're going to let the voter know that they will need a witness. You cannot be their witness. If the voter is non-register and getting a took with ballot, they must complete the VRA, which is included in the packet. Explain that they must complete it and include the VRA when they send it back, or their ballot will be rejected. You guys, as judges, when you're issuing these, you do not view proof of residence or anything with the VRA. You are including a blank form. You are not viewing any proof of residence. You're not helping them fill anything out. They don't need to fill it out on the spot. They're going to take all those materials home with them, fill everything out as though they received it in the mail. So it's basically a pretend mail ballot. Like they got a mail ballot in person. So you're doing nothing with that VRA. You are literally sending them all of their stuff.
This is a great thing to give people as an option if they come in and they don't have proof of residence with them. You can offer them to take a ballot home with them and do it that way instead of coming back with their proof of residence.
The proof of residence list has not changed.
Correct.
No, the proof
Yeah.
of resident list has not changed.
Yep, that's a good point. All right, another method, curbside voting. If a voter has troubles coming in to vote, we can assist them in their vehicle. So if the voter calls elections to curbside vote, staff will arrange for staff or party balance judges to assist them. This isn't a way to skip the line, as you guys often see when we're really busy. They will be made to wait a little while, and we'll help them when we're able, but they're not going to get help immediately if we have, a line down the hallway. So it does take a couple trips out and back, so this is a little bit extra process. You guys all know how this works.
Yeah, so staff is gonna do that, right? Not
Yes, so they'll call the elections line, and we'll get everything handled. If we need someone's help, we might grab one of you if there's an extra person, we're able. Otherwise, we'll go out and take care of it. I think that's mostly what we did last year too, but sometimes we're gonna maybe snatch one of you up to help.
We're gonna just do this to skip the line. Have you seen much of that? Have you seen that? 'Cause I've
So the question was about asking if people use curbside to skip the line, and I think they do sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I think not necessarily always, but we see a lot of it's extremely urgent for them that they need to be helped now in their car, and it's we do our best, but we do see it a little bit, yeah, yeah.
Human nature.
Okay, so agent delivery, we talked about this a little bit. I'll give you a little bit more information. So this only takes place during the 7 days before an election. A voter meeting the criteria below may designate someone to serve as their agent. The agent picks up and returns an absentee ballot on the voter's behalf. So this is someone with incapacitating health reasons, disability, and they're in a health care facility. Again, anything on that list right there. Your lead judges, so Sherry and Terry, as well as election staff, are the ones who will handle agent deliveries. But you should be aware of this information and how it works, so that when someone asks about getting a ballot for someone, and maybe it's their, disabled, whatever, you're not just saying what we talked about earlier, saying, nope, you can't get a ballot for anyone else. There is an exception to that. If that person fits into the kind of the parameters, that's just fine. Tell them about agent delivery. And if you need to send them to Sherry or Terry or staff to talk about it, that's just fine.
What is chapter 144G? Or I assume it's chapter.
All you really need to know is that they're a resident of an assisted living facility. Yeah, it's just a state statute, yeah. Yep. Okay, and then kind of a note about agent delivery for you guys. Again, a good thing to be aware of and know. Throughout the absentee period, people might ask about agent delivery or ask if they can get a ballot for someone else. Let them know that for those who qualify, agent delivery takes place during the 7-day period before the election. But really what we would love you guys to do is politely encourage them to have the voter apply for a ballot by mail, and the voter can have someone else drop that off for them, or they can mail it in. Because oftentimes we'll get people asking about this, the second week of absentee. There's so much time that they have more than enough time, and it's a much easier process for them to do that. Of course, they're welcome to do the agent delivery, but at least giving that as an option is helpful, and informing them of what that process looks like. Because you kind of picture and see here, the person's going to come in, get the app and the agent delivery form, go back to where the person is, bring the forms for that voter to complete, come back here, bring the forms to us, and pick up the voter's ballot after we process it. Go back and have the voter vote their stuff, fill everything out, and then come back and do the drop-off process. They have to visit 3 times. So it's not a short, easy process. So that's why we like the idea of encouraging them to do it a different way if they're comfortable with that.
And that process you have outlined down here is what takes place in the 7-day period?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my word.
Yes,
They're gonna
that's
be
why,
here a lot.
yeah, yep. And that's what we have people who do that regularly, and that's just fine. And as Sherry and Terry, we've kind of shared with them too that it's not a bad idea to ask if that person wants to be on the permanent AB list, or there's a lot of good options for that. And there's so many ways for people to vote that often someone might be used to doing it a certain way, but that's maybe not the best way for them because they're maybe not familiar with what other options might be. So it's just, again, familiarizing you guys with all of those different options so that you can kind of direct people based on the information they're giving you.
How many do we actually have? I mean, we see such a small sample of it every year.
I mean, not a ton. I don't know. What do you usually pull the forms, Nicole?
I would say as far as number of agent deliveries, maybe, 10?
10?
Yeah. I think we get, you always get a couple last minute situations with someone being in the hospital or something, and that's, really what it's designed for. But I feel like I definitely talked to a lot of people last year and got them to do having the ballot mailed to them. So, yeah.
National elections this year, obviously.
All right.
So just,
Yeah.
you mentioned,
Bob.
encourage them to apply for a ballot by mail and then have someone else drop it off for them or mail it in. So the process of having someone else drop it off,
Yeah.
What are the restrictions on that?
So the drop-offs, there are no restrictions. You can drop off for up to 3 other people. So that's like when you're working the drop-off station and someone comes in and they're like, I've got my ballot and my wife's ballot. And you're gonna go, okay, we're yours, I'm just gonna check the stuff, all good. And the other person's, you're gonna fill out that form and we'll go over the details of that as well.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I want to remember. There is
Yep.
something to it
You're-
other than
yep.
just putting it into the box.
Absolutely. Yep, there sure is. All right, so let's talk about what is on the ballot this year. So we have the City of Minnetonka offices. They are all 3 citywide seats, so the entire city is voting on mayor and council member at large seat A and seat B. Those are staggered 4-year terms as far as those citywide ones, and then the ward seats. And then there are also school district offices and questions on the ballot. And that's just a really kind of detailed breakdown for you guys of which precincts have ballots in which school districts. So you will see different school district questions on the back depending on what school district that voter lives in.
And so for the school districts, if they don't live in Minnetonka, they go to the Minnetonka School Service Center to vote, and in Hopkins, ditto.
Yep, and so the question was about where people vote in the different school districts, and I will tell you, yes, they are the school district buildings, and we will talk about it a little bit more. We created something new for you guys to be able to help people who are outside of Minnetonka voters too. Yep. All right, so voter questions about the ballot. So if there's questions about ranked choice voting, you should know how to answer questions about how to properly mark the ballot, but you shouldn't engage in discussion about opinions, merits of RCV. This is the same as discussing a political topic. So if a voter has in-depth questions about RCV, again, we talked about this before, usually it's that tabulation process, refer them to us. We'd be happy to discuss it with them. As far as candidates, you may answer questions from voters about why certain offices are on the ballot. Again, why is the mayor on the ballot? Well, we vote on the mayor every 4 years. Like, that's the answer. But you can't talk about, answer questions about candidates, candidate platforms. You can't talk about names like, oh, who's running? Like, it's on your ballot. We don't discuss those things with the voters.
So in
Yeah.
past years, some of the instructions for ranked choice voting, like, can I just vote for 1? Do I have to vote for 3? Became a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming, and my answer would always be, you can vote for as many as you want. If you only want to vote for 1, vote for 1.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
still valid, right?
That is still valid.
Okay.
Yep, that's still valid. People can vote the way that they want to vote their ballot. It's up to 3. You know, the general idea is that if you're not voting more than 1, you may not be getting the most out of your ballot as you could, because let's say you decide to vote for candidate A and no one else. And now let's say candidate A gets eliminated in the first round, but really you don't like candidate B or C, but you really dislike C. So technically you like B a little bit better. Maybe you should have put B for your second choice, because now you're not giving any benefit to either one of B or C. If you don't care about that, that's fine. Just do your 1. It is up to the voter to decide how they feel about that, and they can absolutely vote 0, 1, 2, 3. That is their prerogative.
Or marking the same candidate all 3 spots.
So
And again, that's not going to create an error, but it doesn't help them.
So about marking the ballot, I'll just put a quick plug in for our new RCV video training for all judges. That's hopefully going to be coming out very soon for you guys for your regular election judge day training. So that goes over in depth kind of all these like scenarios with
Yes.
people marking their ballots.
Yes, I hope to get that out today or tomorrow. So you'll get your election day assignments and your required training, which will be express vote and RCV trainings. They're short. Okay, so ranked choice voting. We'll talk about it briefly, but like Nicole just said, you're going to have a video on it. So again, we're not going to spend a ton of time here. Do watch that. It'll give you a little bit, more in depth. But boy, we already talked about most of this just now. So I'm going to bypass those first 2 bullet points. But the winner is declared following rounds of tabulation, which occur the day following the election. Rounds can continue until a candidate has reached the vote threshold or until there's only 1 remaining. And then we go ahead and post those official results on our city website when they are complete, which we won't know until we're doing the process. We talked about this already, voting 1, 2, 3, voting multiple in the same candidate across the board. The point of this being proper is not that they did all 3 columns, but that it's a different candidate in each column. There's only one marked in each column. That's what's right about
And
this.
they're writing in Tanya.
And yes, our voter loves Tanya. Number 3, yeah, sorry, Tanya, actually. They just like you better than candidate B. I should have put you first. I'm so sorry. Okay. An overvote is really the only technical ballot marking error that we can truly talk about. So when more than one candidate is marked in the same ranking column, the tabulator will alert the voter of an overvote, no different than any other election. More than what you're supposed to mark in a particular column is going to alert you to an overvote. Same for RCV. There are no errors which are going to invalidate a ballot. So when an undervote or an overvote is encountered during the tabulation process, the vote is always going to be counted for the highest valid continuing choice for that election. For example, and I'll try to be quick because you guys are going to get a lot more of this. If I voted for candidate A and candidate B in the first choice ranking column, we don't know what they want. We're going to look to the next column for their first choice. Simple as that. Again, if they left it blank in the first column, but they marked something in the second, that second column is going to be their first choice.
Comes there first.
Yep. So we're always going to give the most value to a ballot as possible. We're never going to just be like, well, you didn't mark someone in the first, but you did in the second, so that's your fault. We're always going to try to help that voter to give them kind of some agency with their ballot. Okay, in-person absentee voting process. So we just want to be clear that, every position is super important to the process running smoothly. Things go right and wrong in every single station, and we mean that very seriously because we have seen things go right and wrong at every single station. So we really want you guys to be engaged and knowledgeable about the functions of all the stations, as well as what materials are available and provided to you, where to look for various instructions. This is just going to help us ensure that you fully understand the entire process so that you're able to assist voters with a wide variety of questions. It's like what we were talking about with agent delivery. Even if you're not specifically doing that process with a voter, your understanding of that it's available and why and when is going to help you talk to voters. Okay. The voting center. We're starting this Friday in the voting center, and that will be through October 10th. Judges will work with an election staff person, so you will have ample opportunity to ask questions. Here is kind of a little rundown of our council chambers setup here. I will note that there is not going to be a greeter until October 27th. We feel that the way that we do it, even for the voting center, is just people fill out their information. If they have a question, it's going to be slow enough. They'll get to an SVRS station. They'll be able to ask any questions. We'll have signage instructing them to fill out that application and wait in line. We didn't feel that for the slow timing, kind of at the start, that we need a person saying, fill out an app and get in line. So there won't be a greeter. There will be 2 SVRS stations. We will have a third set up if staff needs to jump on one, but we'll have 2 people scheduled at SVRS during that time frame. And then there will be a third actual station as well starting October 27th, same time that we throw a greeter into the mix. And then the ballot station, our express vote will be stationed right where the OBT was. People will mark their ballot and then head over. And I will note that for ballot drop-offs. So we have a couple kind of different things going on with this. So during the envelope method, excuse me, that is a receiving station over in the corner, not the, obviously we don't have the DS200 up. So the receiving judge is going to scan the ballot envelope, receive an SVRS, all that. But we will also note that ballot drop-offs will be handled at that station across the board pretty much. And we want voters to be able to go in there and be helped by that receiving judge during that envelope method. Then, once we get to direct balloting, it's kind of going to have to be a little bit of a teamwork situation between the ballot counter judge and an SVRS judge. So what we would ideally do, because we don't want now the ballot counter to be unattended while that judge is helping with a drop-off. So what we need to do is just have the ballot or the drop-off person wait for just a moment until the next SVRS person is available. So they're going to have to get the attention of the SVRS judges and just say, I have a ballot drop-off, like I'm going to need whoever's available next. And whichever SVRS judge finishes their current person first, come over, watch the machine for a little bit while that station helps the drop-off. Then you can head back over to SVRS and help again. Yep. Yeah, we're trying to just not have a whole nother station, a whole nother person for something that's not going to take a whole lot of time. So just teamwork. These slides, I'm not going to go over in detail. It's that AB process for envelope method and direct balloting. Again, it's just those actual step-by-step process. So let's talk about those stations. So SVRS judge, our check-in station and registering of voters. So using the voters completed AB application, you're going to check in voters on the statewide voter registration system and complete the official use only section at the bottom of the app. You'll register voters and update registration for those with name or address changes using their completed AB application and voter registration application. You're going to view their proof of residence as part of the registration and update process. And just that note that paper or electronic documents are acceptable. And you will complete the bottom official use only section of the VRA as well. Excuse me, hang on. Okay, and then you will print labels and adhere them properly to all the materials. That is the application label, the envelope 2 label, and if applicable, the VRA label. And you will adhere the witness label to the signature envelope, instruct voter to complete the top section of the signature envelope. This is their ID, and make sure they are putting what they put on their absentee ballot application, and that they're signing. And when I say adhere your witness label, you're signing as well. And then give the voter their absentee or their ballot envelope, signature envelope, and AB application, and send them to the ballot judge to trade their application for a ballot. So let's dig into SVRS just a little bit. So first off, logging in, keep in mind that we have 2 different login accounts, Absentee 1 and Absentee 2. Tanya will get these logged in to SVRS in the morning. Occasionally you may get kicked out of SVRS and need to log back in. So first things first, you're going to make sure that you are looking at the correct login information and grid card. If the login code that's up is for Absentee 1, you must be looking at the Absentee 1 information. Okay, so you're going to enter that username and password. Make sure you're looking at the correct account. Use the grid card to enter the corresponding characters. If your first attempt at logging in is unsuccessful, contact staff. Please don't try again. Multiple failed attempts gets us locked out of SVRS. And it is not a short, simple process to get us back into it. So please, we beg you, please, because we don't like having to redo that. We have to reach out to the county to get everything reset. We have to do a new password. We have to make new stickers for the envelope, for the folders. That's not the only folder. We've got one too. There's a bunch of steps to it, and we'd rather not spend our time that way. So we'd be happy to come and just make sure nothing goofy is happening. So
Relog in. How do we know? Are you going to use Absentee 1 and Absentee 2 on each of the machines? And how do we know which is which? Are you going to identify?
So it won't really matter which one you're actually logging into on the laptop. Okay. But you know how when you start typing the username and one just pops in?
Oh yeah, make sure that that's right.
Look at which one popped into there. If the 2 popped in, but you had the folder and were planning on putting in 1, but now it auto-inserted the second one.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to want to pay attention to that for the most part. That's what I found, at least, is that what automatically pops in might not have been what you originally planned on putting in there. So I think that's where we maybe get tripped up a little bit. Yeah.
How many attempts before you do get locked out? Usually you get like 3 or 5 or something.
1.
Seriously?
No. I know, I'm not serious, but this is me not wanting to tell you guys. I think it's 3, but sometimes you get ahead of yourself, and because, now we come down and we mess it up once, and don't put us on the spot to not have to get it right on the first try either. I guess is what I'm thinking, so.
Then it's not our fault.
Exactly, yeah. Yep. Then it's on us, and you guys can give us a hard time about it. Yeah, thanks, Cliff. Okay. Using SVRS. So on the left side of the screen when you log in, there's a menu bar. Everything you guys do is under that absentee ballot tab. You really shouldn't be touching anything in that voter registration tab or any of the others. AB records, this is where you go to check in your voters. This is where you guys kind of live on SVRS. And then received AB ballots, the next one down, is what we're using at the received station. It's never okay to look up voters other than the one standing in front of you. As election staff, that is part of our job, is the privacy and security of the information on SVRS. We have privileged access to that, and we need to be aware that that does not include anyone other than the person that we are helping vote. And this does include your spouse, your parent, your neighbor, family member, people who you want to know what party ballot they got. Like, there's no reason for you guys ever to be going into that other information. And that goes for us too. We don't use that for other things, so we all need to be on the same page with that.
And that includes someone asking if their spouse who's passed away.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Just have them fill out the form. And you can say it's very likely, there's a lot of information that draws from, so it's very likely it was pulled, but we'd be happy to send in this form for you if you want to fill it out. Yeah. All right, so if the voter is registered, so we're searching for the voter. You're going to start your search in one of two ways. Last name and date and year of birth, or first and last name. I know everyone has kind of a different way that they like to do it. If you have a way that you're highly successful, that's fine, you guys. We put we discussed this and talked about what we find to be give us the best results, and those are two ways that we all kind of as staff really like using. If this search does not yield the results you're looking for, use that SVRS search tips that's in the binder and go through the recommended methods for continuing your search. When viewing the search results, always look at the absentee ballot record search, that's that lower portion, to check if the voter has been issued a ballot for this election. Where's the mouse here? That's the section down below. I don't know if you can really see my mouse. Select the voter in the voter records results up here and click Express AB Registered to open the absentee ballot application screen for that voter. Check for and address any red messages at the top of the screen. This is the first thing you guys should be seeing. We like to think it's pretty visible, but sometimes when you're on a roll, you kind of look right past that and you're looking to the fields that you're going to fill. We really want you guys to get used to look for that message. Always be looking on any screen for a red message. And then you're going to make sure it's set to received via counter. Election requested is the general. And then go ahead and update and enter the phone, email, social, driver's license. And then down below that information, delivery general is set to in person, and then you're going to click submit print now in the bottom right corner. Now on this next screen here, this is kind of what it looks like. I know it's kind of a funny slide here and I don't have any instructions written, but this is your kind of print screen. So you'll see that you're going to select print dymo without return address is the button you're selecting, and it's going to bring up that little pop-up window. If it doesn't bring that up, it might be that our pop-up blocker is turned on, and we can help with that if you guys do run into it. And then on that window, you're going to hit the print button, and then you're going to get your print settings. They should be set to kind of what you see there. It'll be set to the Dymo printer, and it'll have like the higher quality set to it. And then you're going to hit print. And for registered, you'll get those two labels, the app and the envelope number 2. And for non-registered, you will get an extra envelope for the VRA. Is there a question?
I'm just trying, this screen doesn't look familiar to me.
Sometimes when it's cut, it's a little odd. Which one? This?
No, the one before
This
that.
one.
That doesn't look familiar to me.
So this, it's stretched, but this is a registered voter. Top right corner, you select counter, delivery general. Sorry, here, I'll circle them. And this is, you know,
It's just that it just doesn't look like.
so part of it's because when it's registered, all of this information here is set and it's
all
not
set
changeable.
at the top.
When you have like a non-register or someone you're updating, these fields will all be editable, and there'll be a lot more
That's
going
what I
on
have.
through here.
That's
That's,
what
I
I
think,
have.
what you're
Okay.
picturing. Yep. And then it's this that we're doing something with. Yes. Yep. Okay. So you're printing those labels. And then now you've got your labels, the your application label goes on the ballot application in that top right corner. And just kind of a snapshot of that label, you'll notice it does have listed the Minnetonka with the precinct. The school district is listed before the word Minnetonka on the app label. It's a little bit goofy, but that's where you guys are looking for that information when you're at the ballot station.
Nice shot at the body.
You know, we've had, I think that's been on there since before I've been at Minnetonka, and I just keep using it because I'm like, what am I going to find a new label picture?
Let's just go with this.
Yeah.
And I say, I don't even know Bonnie, but I just use that and we go with it.
We do.
And then we've got the envelope number 2 label. During the envelope method, this goes on the signature envelope. During direct balloting, it goes on the back of the AB application. It's a different application style that has that spot specifically for that label. And then we will note that on the envelope number 2 label, the precinct is listed there as well, and then the school district is actually on the far right side, which I think is a much cleaner look. But we'll also note that on that label is where you can see whether the voter is in person or mail, where you can also see that they're registered or non-registered. So I didn't circle the in person, but I will show you guys on here. So obviously you're seeing R, which means registered. It would say NR if it's an update or a non-registered person. Right next to it, just to the left, I cannot get the mouse to show up. It's really sensitive. But you see that just to the left of the R, there's IP. That would be M for ML. What is it? M for mail? Or ML? ML for mail, and IP for in person. DB for direct balloting. There's a few different things that it could be. If the voter is not registered, so, proof of residence. After you've exhausted your search methods we discussed previously and the voter cannot be found, you're going to help the voter register. So before processing the registration, make sure they have proof of residence on them. And the options are listed on the quick guide. If it's not listed, it's not an acceptable document type. I will mention too, we have a new version of the proof of residence sheet. The old one is still in your binder as well, but there's a new one with like pictures and stuff on it. You guys might remember it from the election last year. Non-registered voters must complete a voter registration application using information from SVRS and the voter's proof of residence. You're going to fill out the official use only section at the bottom of the VRA. The 2 left columns at the bottom in the official use only section there, the 2 left columns, you're going to check AB on the far left, and then you're going to fill out their ward, precinct, school district, and your initials. You're going to choose one of the remaining 3 columns based on the proof of residence provided by the voter. We don't cross over columns. So I think that's one thing we often saw was if someone was doing a Wisconsin driver's license and a phone bill, you'd use the first column and put their driver's license in and check Minnesota driver's license, and then you'd use that middle column to do their document type. You're going to do that all in one column. As you see there in the example, it's listing the document type, and then it's listing their ID number and checking the box saying it was a driver's license. So we're not going to cross over columns. The far column there, you have kind of all of your other unique options for proof of residence. We'll note that for vouched for, that voucher form is on the back side of the form. And then, again, we'll note it, but it's not really something you guys use, but that ID with college list is the only time you'd ever cross columns, and I can't even think of a time I've ever used that.
What's the college list?
A residential.
So yeah, the college list is something that the colleges are required to basically provide a list of like students that are living on campus, or like so that can be a part of their proof of residence, that they're like, hey, yep, they live on the college campus.
Because it's often very difficult for students to prove a residence if they're living on a campus, so it's something that colleges do, but again, we don't have that here, so it's not really something that we need to worry about.
The ID, we don't need to worry about the college list because there isn't a list.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Can you imagine? Really?
No,
College.
Yeah.
that's why.
And I mean, yeah. Yeah, we'll just move on, because we just don't have the colleges here for people to use as a proof of residence in Minnetonka, so it's just not something that we see. So we're just pointing, it's more of a statement of don't cross columns, is the idea of that. So we'll look at the back side, that voucher form. If a voter is using a voucher as their proof of residence, the voucher and election judge will fill out the form together. To be a voucher, they need to reside in the same precinct as the voter, so you need to check this using the precinct finder. So you can use that precinct finder tool on mnvotes.gov to, or you can look up their address in the precinct finder printed thing. But if you're already at a SVRS station, I would highly recommend just opening another tab and having MN Votes pulled up. It's a great tool. So that's what I would use. And then I've kind of highlighted there in the two different colors to say, you know, the yellow sections are what the voter is filling out. The orange is what you are filling out. So.
Does MN Votes give you the voter ID?
That I think you have to look up on SVRS, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
so if you are, I guess what I would also do is if you know that someone's going to vouch for someone else, have the person that's going to be the voucher process them first.
Yeah.
You'll know what precinct
Yeah.
they live in. You can grab their voter ID from like when you click on their
In the
ballot or
voter-
whatever.
yeah, yep.
It shows up there. So.
In this scenario, they're talking about someone else coming in, checking MN Votes to see if they're a registered voter in that same precinct.
Well, it would
Now-
just be looking up their
Their precinct.
precinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would mean that they aren't registered in our precinct.
So they need to reside in the same
Yeah,
precinct.
reside in-
They need to be an eligible voter in the same precinct.
So sometimes it makes
I
So
know, sometimes there's different
it's-
situations that work better.
yeah. So
I haven't had that situation because it's always-
sometimes it makes sense just to look up the voter in SVRS and find their precinct there. Sometimes the person that is coming within to use your discretion. Just know that you can use mnvotes.gov if you just have an address and you want to make sure it's in the right precinct. Yeah.
And there are times where a couple will move into a new house, and one of them has changed their driver's license, the other one hasn't.
Yeah.
Neither are registered, so you process the one that has the license and then go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Terry just described how you can, if, two people are moving into a house, both moved in, only one has proof of residence, like a driver's license or whatever.
Bills in their name. Or
Bills in
what
their
have
name
you.
or whatever. Get that person going, and then that person can vouch for the other person.
This is going to be the election where I use MN Votes because people come in from Deep Haven to vote for the school district, and so they stand in front of me and you can't find them.
Yes.
Vote for them.
And your point, Steve, about using MN Votes for like school district people, we are going to talk about that still. We have that new info sheet for you guys, so that is coming.
Yep, that is coming up. And you guys are right, though, about finding the apologies for not pointing that out and saying about MN Votes, because you are right to find you're not going to find their voter ID number on MN Votes.
No.
So, I mean, yes, you're correct. That is not 100% accurate. You do need to be aware that you need to find the voter ID number if they didn't just register that day. Okay. Circling back to SVRS. So now you've exhausted your search and determined the voter is not registered. You're going to, in that lower section now, in the absentee ballot record section, you are going to select add regular /pres -new. And then you're going to make sure, again, that's set to received via counter. Election requested is general. And now you're going to enter their name, their phone name, or their email, their social, their driver's license. Complete every section that you have information for. A little bit further down, you're also going to complete their residential address. Again, this is kind of a chopped page, but this is the same page as the previous slide. Enter the residential address. Use the drop downs where applicable. That's not in a lot of locations, but you will use that when you can. And then delivery general is set to in person, and then you're going to click continue in the bottom right corner. And I will point out that if you entered the address in a way that it doesn't like, it's going to bring you to a different screen in between here. That's going to be like, that doesn't match anything in our precinct finder. Did you mean one of these? and it's going to give you several other options. So like, for example, there's addresses that are on Highway 7, and it wants you to say 1135 State Highway number 7. And if you write it any other way, it's going to be like, ooh, we didn't understand that. So that next screen will be like, what did you mean? And it'll give you some options, and you'll be able to make sure that you correct it and select the one that the precinct finder does like. Okay, and then you'll go through all of your printing of the labels just like you did before. The only different label is the VRA label, which goes on the voter registration application. This will still go on the back side of the VRA. I know we no longer have that permanent AB list checkbox on the front, and I know we used to put the labels on the front before we had that checkbox. They didn't move that. There is still a spot on the back of the VRA where you will put the VRA label. The process to print labels is the same as for registered. Non-registered just gets that app envelope and the VRA label. Okay, so if a voter is registered with a different name or address, so this means that you found the voter in SVRS, but they need to update their registration or re-register with new information. The voter must complete a VRA and show valid proof of residence. If it's a name change and no address change, or if they're moving within the same precinct, just a reminder that you can use valid registration in same precinct as an easy option for their proof of residence. There are different methods on SVRS depending if the voter has moved from within Minnetonka or another city, or if they're coming in before or during direct balloting. So we're going to break that down a little bit further for you guys, because I think sometimes we get a little bit tripped up on this of like what SVRS is doing when we select certain things during different time frames. So before direct balloting, when we're in that envelope method, you're going to find their existing voter record, and then you're going to select their record and click Add Regular /Pres Registered. So if the voter is currently registered in a different city, the address fields will clear automatically to prepare for a Minnetonka address to be added, and the record will automatically become non-registered. So in that case, it will know enough to say, you're in Minnetonka. Like we're set up that SVRS knows we're in Minnetonka. So it's going to clear that out and go, this is a non-registered, like we're updating their registration. They are now non-registered. You need to put in an address that is in Minnetonka. So in that case, if they also had a name change, that field would still be editable. You could make any changes you wanted in that instance. If the voter is currently registered in Minnetonka, but they have a change of address or a name change, by selecting that Add Regular Pres Registered, which you did on that first screen, instead of that Express AB Registered, which you use for other registered voters, that is how the name and address fields become editable. So, upon editing the name or address, the record will adjust to be non-registered. So it's not going to clear out the address field. Everything is going to stay there until you change it. Then when you continue, it's going to be like, you're going to get that red message that's like, hey, there's new information. This is going to process as non-registered. You're going to look at that and go, yep, I changed that. Keep going. And then you'll proceed by following all the steps previously outlined for non-registered. Okay, so now let's talk about how that looks during direct balloting. So you're going to find their existing voter record. You're going to select their record and click Direct Balloting - Registered. If the voter is currently registered in a different city, the address field will clear to prepare the Minnetonka address to be added, just like we talked about. It'll automatically become non-registered because it'll know it needs to be a Minnetonka address. If they're currently registered in Minnetonka, this is the spot where you need to scroll down and click Convert to Non-Express in that bottom right corner. This allows the name and address fields to be edited and adjust to be non-registered. And then you'll proceed by following all the steps previously outlined for non-reg. So during direct balloting, registered in Minnetonka with a name or address change is the only time you're scrolling down to say convert. Just make sure you're always choosing the correct buttons. If there is an update pre-direct balloting, you're hitting Add Regular Pres Registered, not Express. During direct balloting registered, not direct balloting Express. Right? Was I the right buttons for the other ones? Yeah, okay.
Filling out a new registration form. during this process?
Mhm.
I mean, don't they, if they move to
Yep.
a different address, they still have to fill out the
Yep,
form
yep,
and
just
all
like
of
we were
it?
saying
Yeah.
before, no matter what, if there's a change, you're still
They
fully,
have to fill it
if you're
out.
not registered or if you're changing something, you fill out the VRA always.
Yep, okay.
And it's always going to,
Yeah.
Keeping some of the-
whether you're not registered or you're registered under a different name or address that need to be changed, you're always considered non-reg. So when we say non-reg and reg, that just means, did they fill out a VRA or not? Like, did they require a VRA? So just, someone might be registered, but we're changing it. We're now making them non-registered. It's just the terminology. It means they're updating their registration, but yeah, anytime something changes or they're not registered, those are all under the umbrella of non-registered,
But it's gonna
NR.
say like their driver's license number and that, so you don't have to retype all that in.
Correct. You still want to verify everything and like put in any new information. You know, if they only had their drivers in there and they gave you their social on the app, just like any other person, you're adding information that's available to you that isn't currently in there. And same for like those updates. If you see a phone number on their thing and it's different than what's in there, just put in the new one. You don't need to talk to them about it. They know their phone number. Yeah.
Is this your cell phone?
Oh, that's my old landline. How many times have we heard that, right? Okay, so how to process took-with ballots. Couple small changes here. So really the big difference here is that for the delivery method, it is mail out rather than in person, and they're still receiving via counter. So in those took-with packets of materials that are prepared for you guys, you've got not registered and non-registered packets that we'll have ready to go for you. You've got an outgoing envelope. This is where you put that mail to label that prints out. You attach that to the outgoing. The signature envelope, just like you always would, gets the envelope number 2 label. The ballot envelope, the ballot, this you have to get yourself, obviously, and double check that the precinct and school district are correct. There's 2 different types of instructions in there. There's the how to do a mail ballot, and the RCV ballot marking instructions are tucked in there as well. And then you've got the paid postage return envelope, and if they're a non-registered, the VRA is also included in that bunch. And then you're going to combine these steps with the regular registered or non-registered process according to the voter's situation. You're going to enclose all those materials and the ballot in the outgoing envelope and seal it up and send them out the door with it. You're going to write and highlight took with at the top of the application, place it in the app filing bin with took with visible. You may not act as witness for a took with ballot. Let the voter know this. Remind them that they'll need to have their own witness. Don't look at proof of residence. Don't complete anything on the VRA. Send it with them blank. But remind them that they need to fill that out or it'll get rejected. Oops. Before you send someone away, so this is what you guys had a couple of questions on already. So before you send someone away for being in the wrong location, so you look them up and you're like, boy, they must not be, maybe they're a school district person, maybe they're a Minnetonka school district or, Wayzata school district, whatever it might be. So you're going to verify where they vote and tell them their AB voting location. So we've created a guide for you guys, which tells you how to look this up on mnvotes.gov and use the info that it spits out to determine their AB location. And that's going to be listed on the back side of the guide. So the big main one with the pictures on it is the front side of your guide, and the back side has that school district AB voting locations listed for you. So I will note that when you put the address into the polling place finder on MN Votes, it's only going to list and spit out for you the election day polling place. So don't send them to that location. Use the guide. So what it's going to do, and I'll just briefly go over it for you guys. It's probably very hard to see on there. But basically, it's going to spit out for you this information that's circled here that's going to say, for example, 2025 school district election something or other. And then here, it'll start with ISD 270, and then it'll have some location. And we know that it starting with ISD means that it's a school district race that they're not within a city that has election. So because it says 270, you're going to flip your sheet over and you're going to say, so they are a Hopkins School District voter, not a Hopkins voter, not a Minnetonka City voter, a Hopkins School District voter, and they vote at Hopkins School District Office 1001 Highway 7, Hopkins. So that's how you're going to know that. But again, you'll be able to look at that sheet, so I'm not going to go over, like, you guys can look at that and see it and learn and understand. You can look up some addresses and play around with it to see what that looks like. Yeah.
So someone who lives in the city of Minnetonka, I'm sorry, city of Hopkins, but in the Minnetonka School District, has to go to 2 different places to vote.
No, they will vote at Hopkins. Cities override.
Oh.
The same way that a Minnetonka School District voter who lives in Minnetonka doesn't vote here and at Minnetonka School District. They just vote with us, and the school district questions are on the back.
But
if they live in the Minnetonka School District, but they don't live in Minnetonka or Hopkins, which is the only other like nearby city that has a city election this year. If they don't live in Hopkins or Minnetonka, but they're still within the boundary of Minnetonka School District, then they have to vote at Minnetonka School District because that's all that's on their ballot. They can't have our ballot because they don't get to vote on our city council because they don't live in Minnetonka. But they do live in Minnetonka School District, so they do get to vote on that. So it's very strict parameters of like you get to vote on the things that you reside in. Like that's you vote in your district, whether it's city, school district, state, like a county commissioner, what have you. All those boundaries you need to fit within. That's why how we're making sure that people get the correct ballot style.
I mean, we really only anticipate Minnetonka school district voters showing up in here, but we just provided the other information. If you like look it up and it says City of Hopkins, then you would know to send them to the City of Hopkins.
Yep.
So,
And that's described on the sheet as well for you guys. So just so you know, all of that information is there. It's going to tell you what to look up, where to go, what to type in, and where to send them based on what information it spits out for you.
I remember in past years, the Deep Haven people that came said that the school districts told them that they should vote here.
Yeah.
And hopefully that someone at the
Becky's
school.
not here. Yeah. So, okay. Just to be frank with you guys about the situations of this. So the school district people, they only run small elections every now and then. So they're not doing the same thing that we are for elections. So we feel for them. But they make some errors sometimes. So if you have a voter who you can kind of just be like, you know, we've got this going on, we would be glad to call the school district person and make sure that they know, like, hey, you sent this person. We're sending them back. They're already kind of upset because they've had to drive to multiple. You sent them away from the correct location, and here's what we need to. So I think we just really need to just be really kind to that person and understand their frustration because that's frustrating. You're sent away from the right place, and now they're sending you away. And so by the time they get to us, they're frustrated with us, but we're not
I'm not talking
doing
about-
anything
it's not
wrong.
the school district that's sending them back, it's teachers that are saying, okay, you've got this school district thing coming in there, make sure you go down to Minnetonka and vote. That's what I saw. It wasn't that the school district was bouncing them back and forth, it was teachers.
Okay. Yeah, I think, so in that case, I guess it's just making sure you guys are clear and understanding that, like, okay, so it looks like you live in the Minnetonka School District, but you don't live in the city of Minnetonka. So our ballots have city of Minnetonka council members on it. And since you don't live in Minnetonka, you have to vote on a ballot that just has school district. And that's not something we do. And making sure that just explaining to them why is maybe helpful for people to say, like, you don't live in Minnetonka.
We'll be polite.
But it should, yeah, I know you guys will. I know you will.
If there happens to be a call that needs to be made, you guys want to do
Yeah.
that then? Okay.
Yep. We're familiar with the school district people, so we'd be happy to talk to them.
Since this tends to happen with Deep Haven, have you guys reached out to them ahead of time to say anything to them so we
It's the
don't
school
have
district that's
this?
doing it.
It's, I mean, that's very hard because that would require us to reach out to residents of Deep Haven to say you don't vote with us. I mean, there's not a great,
Well, but
It's-
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Reach out to Deep Haven officials and say that, don't send them here if this is what happens. I'm just,
I don't think the Deep Haven.
I don't think it's
the
Deep Haven
school.
City. It's
the teachers.
it's not the
Make
city.
sure you vote on it.
Make sure you vote on it for me.
I would say it's not the city doing it.
That's what it-
I know we have had instances where truly people go to the right voting location and they're sent away because there's confusion with their people who are limited in the elections that they put on. and
Okay.
lack of, some miscommunication, they end up in the wrong place,
yep.
and then we just
Alright.
have to do what we have to do and get through it. But yeah, we do have those conversations with them, and we'll gladly continue having them as things come up. So yeah, Bob.
I know some of the earlier slides, you mentioned that some of Minnetonka's 21 precincts actually are split school districts. So that means we have more than 21 ballot styles?
We do, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, you started last year, so you wouldn't have
So
done
how do you-
23.
How do you know, how do you know which one to pull?
So we have everything is labeled.
So just to
in the voting
clarif-
center. Oh yeah, go ahead,
Question.
Nicole.
We're just talking about more than 21 ballot styles with the school district splits. That was kind of the question. So go ahead.
Thank you. Both locations. So in the voting center, you know how you open up the cabinets and you've got those trays of the ballots. It'll be very clear if there's a precinct that has multiple, say 2B has 270 and 276. There's a tray that's going to say 2B 270 and one that says 2B 276. And that's an extra step during these odd year elections when you're looking at the label and making sure that you're getting the right ballot, is to be extra clear that you're getting the right precinct and school district. So it is that extra, make sure you've got both of them correct. That's where I'm always going to recommend, look at the label, grab your ballot, now put them next to each other and check again. I do that every single time, you guys. Errors occur. We all do it, right? When you double check, that's going to eliminate that from happening. So it's making sure that you are checking both numbers. Not every precinct does have a split, but some do. So you'll just want to keep an eye on that. And then in the ballot cart, Tanya's made labels on each of the drawers. Again, it'll tell you the school district on them. So for the ones that have splits, there's multiple drawers. So every ballot style has a different spot. Yep.
It's really fun.
Good question. It's really fun. Yes, I appreciate that comment. Yes, we think it's a blast. Yes.
How many are there?
Yeah.
29, 30, 29, 30 with that tiny little one.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 30, but yeah.
8 residents.
But that one doesn't, it's like 2 households or something for, I don't know how that happened, but.
And you have to order 100 of those ballots, don't you?
What's that?
You have to order 100 of those
50.
ballots? 50.
50 is our smaller number.
Two houses.
Yep, for the 2 houses who don't vote absentee. We pretty much know that, I'm pretty sure they go on election day. But we have to have them just in case, Okay. So we talked about this. All right, ballot judge. So issuing the ballot and to voter and filing their AB app. Good. So you're going to give the application a once over to check for completeness. Did the voter sign the AB app, the BRA, the signature envelope? Just a note, we can fix a lot of things, you guys. Not always easily, but we can fix a lot of things. But a missing signature, we can't fix a missing signature. The ballot will be rejected. If it goes through ballot boarding and is missing a signature, there is nothing we can do. We must reject it. So please make sure everything is signed. During direct balloting, check the AB app label. Make sure it's issued via direct balloting, so DB instead of IP. If it's not in DB, the ballot record must be fixed in SVRS and new labels printed and adhered to the app. I will note that you can go ahead and issue the ballot to the voter. They don't need to wait for that update. They're getting the same thing either way. We've processed them, but make sure that as soon as you issue that, you're getting that back to check the initials, get it back to the SVRS voter or judge who helped that voter so that it can be fixed in the system. Every voter must receive the correct ballot style. A lot of precincts have multiple school districts, so be extra careful. We already jumped into this. So check that check the app label, not what the SVRS judge wrote on the app, because we can make mistakes. Sometimes legibility is a little difficult if we're moving fast. Retrieve the associated ballot, hold the ballot next to the app, and double check the precinct and school district matches. Use the app label, which is in the top right corner of the AB app, to identify the voter's precinct and school district. Again, so now you're seeing where that IP is located, IP meaning in person, DB direct balloting, and ML is mail. You see where school district is located right before the word Minnetonka, and then the precinct, and then obviously the app label there, and then highlighted the signature portion because you're making sure that application is signed. All right, filing AB apps. So the ballot judge keeps and files the voter's application. The AB applications are filed in the box provided after processing the voter. The VRAs during envelope method are completed and go into the voter's signature envelope. So the SVRS judge can go ahead and do this for the voter and instruct them to leave it there. So you're going to stick that right into that envelope before you even send them away. During direct balloting, these are filed separate. In the VRA's folder bin, they don't get paired with their AB application. They are separate because we have to do something with those on the back end, and we don't want to have to dig through, however many voters we helped that day, the number of applications to find VRAs. Took with AB applications, you're going to place those upright in the back of the bin so took with is visible. As we mentioned earlier, the ones with the permanent AB list box checked, which, here, so on this slide, I'm going back one, you can see just to the right on that number 1 where they check the box for which election, you can see that permanent AB voter section on the right. Oh my goodness, I can't. Right up here.
Oh, got it. See it.
So there's where that box is, just like it was on the VRA, but now it's on the AB app. So just to show you guys a picture of there.
Thank you.
So those permanent AB list, if the box is checked, the SVRS judge should have highlighted that checked box. Please double check that that's highlighted, or check that if it's checked or whatever when you're filing that. And then you're going to file that in the permanent AB list folder in the bin. There's going to, right next to the took with and the VRAs and whatever else is at the back of the bin, there will be a folder for that. And just like we would with the took with, we're taking those, scanning them, and then we're putting them back. So if you guys have some of that, if we're swinging by the ballot station, let us know. You've got some stuff for us. All right, instructions to voters during the envelope method. So issuing their voter their correct ballot style, and you're going to tell them if your ballot has 2 sides. You're going to use ranked choice voting on the front, traditional method on the back. When you're done, fold the ballot, seal it in the gold envelope, put that into the white envelope and seal it, bring it to the station near the exit and gesture over towards it. So for the envelope method, you can see that's already a very long explanation. Unless the voter has specific other questions, don't say more than that. Okay. I know we sometimes got a little too into explanations of things, and now we're talking for 5 minutes with every voter about what to do with their ballot. Most people are like, yeah, I know, like they don't want to hear any of it. They're like, I'm going to mark my ballot and put it in the things. I will also note that we have the envelope nesting and sealing instructions on a little slip that's in each of the booths, just like we've had in the past. So we'll tape those in there for people as well. They like to be dramatic and act like we gave them 7 envelopes, but there's 2 envelopes. You put it in the one that fits. It's
Still screw it up.
They do.
They don't look at the
boy.
It's crazy.
Yep, ballot in the gold, gold in the white. Bring it over.
And we don't share any
All there is to
extra
it.
information about ranked choice voting, so you don't
Ranked
have
choice
that.
voting on the front, right, traditional on the back. And if they ask questions, you're going to say, yep, city offices on the front are ranked choice voting. School district on the back is not ranked choice voting.
And you don't offer, you can vote for 3, you can vote for 2.
Unless they ask.
Unless
The
they-
only time you need to give any more information is if they ask. Otherwise, if they're not asking, it's because they don't need to know. They don't. If they don't have questions, you can assume that they know what they're doing.
The directions are on the wall in front of the table, so, people look at them.
When we're in the voting center, the little rooms, they bring it back to you.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, we are discussing this as though we're in the chambers, but you're right. I'm kind of bypassing all of the voting center stuff, so thank you. Good point. Yep, the voting booths in the voting center, the voting booths are in the hallway. They're going to have to come back into the room.
In
Yep.
the voting center, they'll be watching, so.
We're always watching.
We're glad you are.
Okay, so during direct balloting, again, you're going to issue that voter their correct ballot style, double checking, and then you're going to tell them your ballot has 2 sides, ranked choice voting on the front, traditional method on the back. When you're done, you'll feed it into the ballot counter. Again, gesture over to where that's located. Once again, brief, concise, consistent messaging. Only explain more if the voter has questions. We do not need to get into a whole long spiel while handing a voter their ballot. Okay, questions on marking the ballot. Some common ones here. So what is RCV? How do I vote RCV? City offices use ranked choice voting. There are 3 ranking columns for each race. You can select up to 3 candidates in order of preference. Only fill in 1 oval per column. That's kind of all of the bits of information they could possibly be wanting to know about it. If it goes beyond those types of information, that's where you can get us. I will mention, like Bob had asked about before, if there's going to be kind of some guidance, any information there. We've got like a talking points sheet with question and answer. We really find that most of the questions fit into one of those that's listed on that sheet for you guys too. We make note that we want to provide that for them, the talking points. Thank you. How does that work? So when votes are being counted, if your first choice candidate doesn't get enough votes and they're eliminated, your vote transfers to your next choice. Again, that's kind of all we really need you guys to know about tabulation. Beyond that, again, it gets to a point where now we're talking about complicated, again, I shouldn't say complicated, but things that are beyond what we need you guys to be able to know to explain. So that's where if they want to know more about that, I would be more than happy to talk to them about tabulation. Ask if you've got someone who really wants to know those things. We find that most people who want to know reach out to us, but or they don't really want to know, right? Any further questions? Like I just said, you can kind of just tell them, I'd be happy to direct you to election staff if you'd like more information. And then give us a call. All right, receiving judge. So this only happens during the envelope method, and this position becomes the ballot counter judge during direct balloting. During the envelope method, you're going to verify the signature envelope for completeness. That is the envelope 2 label, the voter signature and ID, the witness label and signature. You're going to stamp the signature envelope in that open space at the bottom with the received date stamp, scan and receive the ballots in SVRS, drop the envelope into the ballot box, offer them an I voted sticker, and thank them for voting.
And just a note for, I don't know if there's not anyone here that's not worked in the voting center, but you are all of these positions in the voting center.
Yes.
So you are receiving, you are the ballot judge. Yeah, you're it.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, all steps are in a compact little space in there. You have everything that you need to do all the things. Okay, so again, receiving ballots during the envelope method. Like we said before, you're going to go under the AB or absentee ballot tab in the received AB envelope section. At the start of your shift, that's where you're located. Again, if you're in the voting center, you're going to go to that tab and use this section. And when you do this, you are going to put the cursor in the ballot ID box, scan the ballots, and then you'll see in the next picture there, the ballot ID numbers appear below, and then you will click receive. Let's see here. You're going to notice that the message at the top, after you've, it says ballots were processed successfully. I'm sorry, I skipped a section. I was like, where am I at here? Up on top there, you're going to see that it lists the ballots out, and you're going to click submit. Then you're going to be back to the original screen where you started, and at the top there's a teeny little message that says the ballots were processed successfully. I don't even know if that's like readable size when you're looking at the screen, but it is a teeny little message that says they're processed. Yep. Okay, so now we're into direct balloting. There's no longer a received station. We have a ballot counter judge station. You're directing voters to feed the ballot into the tabulator. Keep a respectful distance to ensure privacy while maintaining your view of the tabulator screen. As the voter approaches, instruct them to feed their ballot under the black tray. Watch the screen, tell the voter to wait for the flag to let them know their ballot's been counted. Once the flag displays on the screen with the message that the ballot has been counted, you can let the voter walk away. And then you're going to thank them for voting and offer them an I voted sticker. So you're going to watch and ensure that every voter feeds their ballot into the machine and ensure that they have only one ballot to scan. So we've seen a few wacky things happen. We've seen people not understand and just set their secrecy envelope down and their ballot's sitting in it. Or, maybe someone had a ballot and they opened one that they brought in and want to feed that in. Like one ballot, always one ballot, not 0 ballots, not more than one ballot. And then you're always going to wait for that flag screen for their ballot to be accepted. Make sure there's not an error message before the voter walks away. The reason we say give them privacy, but always be able to view the screen is that, as you guys know, the error messages do not beep. They show up on the screen. So that's why you need to always be having the screen visible to you at that station. And then return their secrecy sleeves if they had one and that there's no ballot left inside. If the voter has an error message, you must approach, read the error message on the screen, and explain the error and the voter's options. If they want to cast the ballot as is or with the error, you must explain what this means for their vote. So if it's an overvote on an RCV race, if the overvote's in a ranked voting column, the vote for that ranking will not count, and the vote will go to the next highest ranking choice. If it's an overvote on a school board, the vote for that race will not count, but the rest of the ballot that's properly marked will count. So,
Question.
yeah,
If they, in the third column, they put 2 people down, will I still get this error?
yes. Anytime there is any column that has an overvote, there will be a message on the screen for
You
it.
don't know if it's any action.
It's gonna tell you exactly where it is.
Oh, it
So
will.
yeah, so if the error message pops up, it's gonna be like on, 270 school district or school board race, it told you to select 2 and you selected 4. Or, the first choice ranking mayor, you selected 2. Now we know. So it's going to tell you exactly where that overvote is located on the ballot.
For ranked choice, the third
Right.
column, if it's overvoted,
Yes.
we'll get that note too.
No matter what,
And
no
that's
matter
fine.
where the overvote is located, it's always going to tell you there's an overvote and where the overvote is
Which race
located.
and which column.
The part where
Everything.
it does get a little bit more complicated is that you don't know what they did for the rest of the columns. So like if they made an error, if they overvoted in the first column, I have no idea what they did.
Right.
In the
That's why
second
you're going to
column.
explain to them.
Yep.
Because if you're saying it looks like in the mayor race, you voted for 2 people in your first column. So you could get your ballot back and re-vote it, or you can vote it as is. But what that means is where you did that overvote, nothing will count in that column. If you voted in the other columns, will go to those. But again, like Nicole said, maybe they left those blank, in which case they probably want to get it back. But again, that's not up for you to decide for them. You just need to explain to them what that means. So you need to have an awareness of what that does mean when we're looking at those votes and counting. Okay. A blank ballot, if there's no marks at all on the entire ballot, you will get an error message for a blank ballot. You won't get it for a regular undervote. It's up to people. That is a voter's choice to vote or not vote in any particular race. So only if the ballot is fully blank. Returning the ballot as opposed to casting it, you're going to get that back from the DS200 and place the voted ballot in the spoiled ballot envelope, which is in the ballot cart. And issue the voter a new blank ballot to vote and cast. I will note, always obviously remember that when we're doing AB, you've got, like we just talked about, 30 different ballot styles. Make sure and ask them, you don't need to see their ballot, but you do need to see that bottom right corner so that we can make sure and give them the correct ballot again, because, now we've filed their app and we don't know who they are. We need to make sure that they're getting the right ballot style when we're reissuing.
So if the voter wants their ballot back,
Mm-hmm.
the judge presses the button?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. You should always get to the screen before the voter can do anything. And this is why we say be close enough that you can see the screen. The moment that error message pops up, go up there, because we have run into instances where a voter finds themselves very upset later because a judge did not get to the machine fast enough. The voter didn't read the screen. They just thought it was a normal part of the process. And they saw a button that said cast ballot, and they went, yeah, I want to cast my ballot. Well, now they've learned that, well, I had an error on my ballot. Well, I want to get it back. Well, now you can't. Now it's too late, and now that voter's very upset because we didn't get up there fast enough to explain what was going on. So that's where we need to be, again, give them privacy, but be close enough that you can see and immediately go, okay, looks like there's an error on there. Just start talking before you even get up to them. Don't let them push anything. Explain what they did. Ask them what they would like to do. And then you can go ahead and either cast or whatever. It never beeped for overvotes. It has never beeped for overvotes. Yeah, jams, beeps for jams. So, I mean, your question about the pushing of the buttons, yes, we push the buttons, kind of like it says there. The tabulator isn't self-serve. Yes, they feed in their own ballot, but they're going to handle their ballot. You're going to handle the tabulator. Okay, drop off. Sorry we're going over time. You guys have had so many good questions though. Okay, so there is no separate ballot drop off station for this election. So we kind of talked about this a little bit already. During the envelope method, the receiving judge will handle any ballot drop offs, no issues there. During direct balloting, the ballot counter judge, along with an SVRS judge, will need to team up to take care of that. We already kind of discussed, so I won't go over any further. During the last week, we will have a greeter judge, and they can go ahead and handle those drop-offs at that point. We think the greeter judge can find that person as they're approaching, and they can take them into that table kind of near the DS200 and take care of that drop-off right there. Okay, Minnetonka voters may drop off their own ballot and ballots for up to 3 voters. This can occur in multiple visits or just one. The drop-off is handled differently depending on the situation. So the first thing you need to determine is if the individual is dropping off their own ballot or someone else's or both. So you're going to ask them, is this your ballot that you're dropping off today? If they say, yes, this is their own ballot, if the ballot is inside the mailer envelope, have the voter remove it. That is a mail envelope. Since they're not mailing it, we need to verify the information on the signature envelope. We really don't need that mailer envelope at all. Ensure that the voter is a Minnetonka resident by using the label. Check the signature envelope for completeness. Check that the voter has signed and written their ID number, that the witness portion is complete. Again, no longer required to be a Minnesota resident. And you're going to stamp it received with the correct date in that blank spot in the envelope. And you're going to drop the ballot into the ballot box. Okay, so what to look for on the signature envelope. You're going to go through all of the steps for drop-offs, whether it's their own ballot or someone else's. You're always going to check the entire signature envelope. So first, look up at the top, are they a Minnetonka resident? And then their voter ID, which is their license or the last 4 of their social. You can go ahead and ask them, is this the number that you used on your application? If they're not sure, you can have them add the other number. The voter has signed, and then the witness has printed their name and signed. You'll notice this is the new version. So there is not an address portion line for the witness. It's name and signature. And then they're certifying that bullet, bullet, bullet. So they're saying, yes, I am all of these things that make them eligible. We don't need their address. For a non-registered envelope, there will be that added section for which proof of residence the witness saw. Make sure that there is a box checked for that. I would say that that's probably the most missed thing that we find. And then the received stamp with the correct date after everything is verified. All right, if the person is dropping off for someone else, so they say, no, this is my neighbor's ballot. Yeah, Terry.
If somebody is dropping off a ballot for themselves, do we look at an ID? Do we look at a driver's license? We just say, okay, we just believe them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So if you're dropping off for someone else, you, the judge, are filling out the ballot drop-off log using the individual's photo ID, and then they, the voter, will sign and date. You do not use the ballot drop-off log for the voter's own ballot, only when they're dropping off someone else. So if they're coming in with 3 ballots and one of them is theirs, you are filling out that form for the 2 ones that are not theirs, not for their own. Then you'll proceed to go through all the same signature envelope verification steps that you saw in the previous slide. And then individuals may drop off up to 3 ballots for other voters in addition to their own ballot. And like I said, they can do it on multiple visits or in the same, and this is why we track those ballot drop-off logs and we keep them in alphabetical order. You put them under their last name in the alphabet, so when the person first comes in and they've got a ballot for someone else, you're going to look up to see if you already have a form going for them. Maybe they've already dropped off 3, and you're going to have to say, looks like you've already dropped off 3, that's your max that you can drop off for other people. Or maybe they don't have a form started yet at all, and you start a new one for them. Okay, again, if they're dropping off for someone else, so here's what that ballot drop-off log looks like. You're going to use the drop-off log binder when someone's dropping that off. And the sheet, there's one for each person who drops off ballots for other voters. You're going to file them alphabetically according to their last name of the agent. The agent is the deliverer of the other person's ballot. And you're going to check to see if they already have a form going, like I said before. All right, there is a quick guide for this station that you should read at the start of your shift if you might be handling drop-offs. Oh, excuse me. Always follow the guide to ensure that you're successfully completing the process. And when you have questions, call staff to assist. Agent delivery. So someone asked earlier about the word agent as far as dropping off ballots for someone else versus agent delivery. We know it's not great lingo. It's not something that we control. Agent delivery is a very separate thing. Like we talked about before, there's certain parameters you have to fit into to be able to do direct balloting or do agent delivery, which only happens during those 7 days before the election, versus being an agent, like on this form. We say, we ask for agent information. An agent is a person who's dropping off for someone, but it is also different than agent delivery. So just keep that in mind that we do use the word agent in two separate things, but one is agent delivery and the other one is an agent can drop off other people's ballots.
Ballot dropper offer.
Ballot dropper offer. Why can't we just say that instead of agent?
These would have been took with,
Or mail.
or mail.
Yep. The question was, those would be took withs, and that is correct. They also could be ballots that were mailed to people. Okay, so agent delivery. During the 7 days before, an agent can pick up and return an absentee ballot on a voter's behalf if they meet the criteria. We talked about that criteria earlier. The leads will handle all the steps of agent delivery process. So step 1, the agent takes the AB app and the agent delivery form to be completed by the voter. 2, agent returns with the completed AB app and agent delivery form. It gets processed on SVRS, and we send the agent with a sealed packet of ballot materials. Now, during those first 2 steps, that agent needs to wait in line. Step number 3, so now we've sent them with all the ballot materials. The agent returns with the voter's completed ballot in the sealed and completed signature envelope. They can skip the line for this, and the lead will instruct them of that when they're sending them away for step 2, so they'll know. And the person who is either the greeter or the DS200 judge is going to help and catch that person so that we don't just have random people wandering in the exit. We're going to catch that person, and a fellow judge will alert the lead that, hey, we have an agent delivery here for you. They will wrap up the voter that they're currently helping on SVRS if they're at that station, and then take that agent for this last step. So the agent must see the lead. You can't take that ballot at the drop-off station, so you want to always look at that bottom portion, the very bottom right of your signature envelopes. It's going to tell you whether it's a registered or non-registered voter or an agent delivery, non-reg or reg. So always look at that and make sure, as part of the ballot drop-off process.
And the envelope will look different to you. Like you'll take a second look at it because it says like agent name, I think, on it. They have to fill it out the name on the envelope, so it will look different to you.
Yeah, you should know if you're going through all the steps that you should as a ballot drop-off person, you'd notice something wrong to begin with. So you're going to complete that process, keep the ballot in the agent delivery binder folder, and then let staff know that you have that. Okay, absentee ballot board. This is the accepting and rejecting of ballots. The ballot board will accept a ballot if the voter's portion of the signature envelope is completed and signed, and the ID number on the signature envelope matches what was provided on the ABA ballot application. Or if we can't make that work, we can match signatures on the signature envelope and the absentee ballot application. And the witness portion has to be completed. For non-registered voter ballots, additionally, the voter registration application must be completed, signed, and placed in the signature envelope. In the event that a ballot must be rejected, the voter will be notified by city staff. That's it. Finally, I can stop talking for a minute. Questions? Comments, concerns, thoughts?
Great job.
Well done.
Complete.
Good.
Well done.
Thank you. We have a good team.